So Garry, thanks for your time today. And the reason why I've got you on the podcast is because Jim sends an email to everyone after their first 30 days, and you sent back a really lengthy email saying how happy you were and telling Jim about your success and all the things you're doing. So maybe you want to talk a bit about that email you sent to Jim regarding your success so far in Jim's Mowing.
Yeah, well, when I first went into Jim's, I thought, I didn't buy any customers or anything. We started from scratch basically. And I sort of budgeted that if I made what I was making in my job previously, well, that'll be all right for a start off, and then build from there, obviously up into a bigger business eventually, which was probably 12 to 18 months down the track. But it started off quite spectacularly for me, the business. In my first week on Monday morning, I thought, about 10 o'clock, no leads come through. And I thought, what have I done here? And then they started coming through. And by the Wednesday, I'd got pretty much what I'd earned in the previous job. And then on the Thursday, this lead come in from a real estate and wanted to clean up a major cleanup on a house and the yard and everything that a tenant had left in a bad state. And that was that sort of doubled my earnings for the week. That one job, it was a pretty major job, but so it took off with a bang really, and kept going from there. The leads just kept coming in the next week, and I got one job from a guy that works at my accounting practice. He had to do a major cleanup. He wanted to sell a house, and it hadn't been lived in for nearly 12 months, and it got overgrown and everything. So we got that major one through sources other than Jim's as well, but just been by known, because the boss of the accounting firm said, Garry's bought a Jim's Mowing franchise, he might be able to help you. So that was sort of pretty much where we started off with the bang, and the earnings were probably about 2 or 3 times more than what I budgeted on.
It's great. Yeah. And I was going to say, what were you doing prior to Jim's Mowing?
In my previous life, so the previous 12 months, I've just went back to being a truck driver. I was going to start Jim's 12 months ago, but I had a little health issue and had to get over that, and everything's fine with that now. And but before that, I was in my early life, I was a farmer for about probably 15 years. The first 15 years of my working life, I then had a milk run down at the Gold Coast, and that was for about 20-something years. So that's where I gained a lot of experience as far as what drew me to Jim's, because the marketing and brand name and things like that are just so important in these sort of businesses. The recognition from people out there, they're drawn to you rather than go to some independent no name with no marketing thing. That was sort of probably the next 20-something years of my life, and basically we ended up with Jim's. I'd heard about it probably 2 years ago, and these young guys they didn't have I don't think they had the best work ethic, and they were making quite a bit of money. So I thought, well, that's not too bad.
Yeah, you're coming from the farming background, you'll have the work ethic. So what, were you a dairy farmer, or was it beef, or was it?
Yeah, no, we were dairy farmers. So we were probably in Queensland, we were probably the biggest 2 or 3 dairy farmers in Queensland, me and my dad. So
how many cows were you doing?
We at that stage, that was about we had about 300 cows, so that was a huge amount. And these days they have 700 and 800 with a lot less dairy farmers, but back then most people used to only milk about between 60 and 150, and we were sort of double that. So
that's a hard job. A lot of my family's from Warrnambool, and they've got dairy farms and stuff, and I know all about it. Up early, back late, problems all day. So it's a very, very good work ethic you get from a farming background.
Yeah, I love that sort of work. It was working on the land and with and growing crops and all that sort of which carries over into the Jim's business for me. You have a little bit of knowledge about fertilizers and poisons and all the care of crops and all that sort of stuff too. So it's helped me out there a bit too.
And what prompted you to do the Jim's Mowing franchise, Garry? Was there something where you wanted to just try something new or work for yourself, or what was the prompt for it?
I've always liked to have my own yard looking good, like the grass and the shrubs and trees and all that sort of stuff. And it was just something I take pride into, and I get a great deal of satisfaction out of when you finish a job and you can look back on it. And what I feel is helpful is when I go to a job now, I take photos of the before and after. I've got to go back to the large job I done at the end of last month. I've taken photos there, and they're horrendous. And I've got to go back and just do a tidy up before he puts it on market next week, and just give it a mow and a spruce up. And I'm going to take some photos of after photos of that. So, and that just gives you a great sense of achievement. It's not all about making money and everything. It's to see the look of appreciation and surprise on the customers' faces when after you're finished. I don't like them coming out halfway through. I like to go in at the start and say, right, this is what we got, and then come and grab them afterwards. If they're home, I always grab them, even if it's a mow or something, and say, yeah, is that all right? And they say, oh, yeah, that's amazing. And, get these sort of comments like that. They can't believe that you've turned the look of their place around, and they've got somewhere nice to live, there's a lot to do with why I went into this sort of business. I've heard it's also, like Jim's name's out there as being very reputable and reliable and customer focused, which is a big thing to me, is being customer focused, because, from the milk run, anybody can mow a lawn or deliver milk, but you've got to look after your customers to keep them coming back. That's the thing. You do the little things, like you do the edges properly, you do the hedges are trimmed nice and straight and everything, and that's sort of, keeping the customer happy is a major focus, which I agree with what Jim's sort of mantra or his business is built on.
Yeah, and a good point you said there, which a lot of people don't know or think it's a good understands the benefits. As you said, the job satisfaction you can get multiple times a day from seeing something, you turn from not good to really good, and you do that multiple times a day, whereas a lot of other people in their jobs might not see the result of their work at all, whereas you get to see it every day. You've turned this thing from looking pretty shabby, looking really smart, and you can do it multiple times over a day.
Yeah, and that's and to see the look of appreciation and maybe surprise. I don't know whether that's a good word for it, but for the customer that comes out after you've made their house or business or yard or whatever over, is really satisfying. And that's the thing, is there's a lot of people get caught in jobs that they don't really like doing. They're mundane. They might be making a lot of money, but they're not happy. They come home, they're cranky, their family life suffers, and their whole life suffers because they're really doing a job that they don't like. And it's sort of one of my things that I tell people: if you don't like that job, just go and get another one and do something that you like. It's not all about the money you make. It's about the satisfaction you have when you come home.
That's a very important point. Now, I was going to say, with the training itself, it can be pretty daunting having to make the commitment to come from, I think you're from Queensland, so coming down from Queensland can be a big commitment. But how's the training experience itself over the 6 days you were here?
Well, I've been saying to people, like training can be, you have thoughts of it and think, oh, geez, this is going to be boring. It's just sitting there listening to blokes and all people, or, and everything. And then they said, oh, so they were training and it was $2,000. And I thought, oh, yeah, and that accommodation and meals were included. And I thought, oh, we'll get a slice of toast for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and a cold cut for tea. And you go down there and Jim just looks after you so well. We had beautiful rooms. The meals were exceptional. Like there was a 3-course meal every breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and really nice food and everything. And then you go up to the actual training, and you've got guys that are so passionate about what they do, that are presenting to you from different ones, not just from the mowing. We had Sam from building inspections. We had a number of other different presenters, from different sectors of gyms, and it gave me a good idea about not only your business, but how we can integrate all them other guys into our businesses from time to time. Fence building and skip bins and stuff. They could help my business out, in certain situations. So this is, where you get an insight to everything. And for people, I had a bit of a head start in that I'd run a business for quite a long time myself, but some other young guys there that don't know about the accounting part and the bookkeeping. I use Craig Pettit from Tasmania as my bookkeeper now, and it's working out great. He's got the gym's bookkeeping down in Tassie, and it doesn't matter that he's down there where everything's done online. And that, just to hear that, that all them different facets of thing. The main thing I was concerned about was the quoting. It was very daunting to me. Am I charging not enough, or am I charging too much, or am I going to miss out jobs because I'm like too dear, or all that. And they just went through that with John. I forget his last name,
John
but
Wilds, yeah.
Yeah, the last couple of days, and he was just so good in giving you confidence in doing it and making you realise you're going to be wrong sometimes, but like it's that's okay. You can as time goes by, you get better and better at it, and you can get a fairly good idea of it. Which I found over the last month. It's been very good. The experience is a big thing.
Quoting, you're right in what you said. Quoting tends to be the one thing. If you say to franchisees who've just done the training or been there for 3 months, quoting is always the thing that's the most daunting. And as you said, it's something you've just got to learn from your experience, then you'll get better just from doing it.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. But every facet of running a business was covered. From the first session with Jim, you actually realise he is a real person. He is hands-on in the business, and he is very passionate about his business. And it's a thing that I've been involved with some different organisations, football clubs, and all that sort of stuff, and a keen rugby league follower. And you can see the good organisations, they've got good management and good people at the top, and the ones that aren't successful, they've got really bad management at the top, and it just flows down through the whole business. And that was another big plus, that Jim actually gets in there and cares about everybody. He takes the time out to send me an email the other day to make sure everything was going fine, and it was. But somebody may be struggling, and he'd be able to reach out and help them. Or get someone to help them. Yeah.
Well, he's very, very involved. So, for example, I'll give you an example. Not a lot of people might not know it, but if sometimes if Jim has a franchisee on the phone who's got a problem, he'll put him on speakerphone and he'll walk with the franchisee on speakerphone to the person in our head office.
Yep.
Who's responsible for whatever it is, and he'll just come up to your desk and say, "Hey, I'm with Thingo from where are you from? Blah blah blah. He's got a problem with this. What is this about?" And then put the phone in the person's face to speak to the franchisee to answer it. It's happened to me a couple of times, but he's really, really involved, and it's if the franchisee's struggling, they can do it. But he loves hearing the positive stories, so that's why he wanted me to talk to you, Garry, because it's great to have someone who's doing so well in their first month. So we don't need to talk about income, but like people probably from the outside look and go, "Oh, Jim's cleaning, Jim's mowing. They're not making. Maybe they might be making average money, but." What's the potential for someone who might not believe the money they could make potentially in Jim's mowing?
Oh, look, in as a single person, like on your own, I reckon you can get up to earning between $4,000 or $5,000 a week with the right setup. Maybe a bit of help on the side. And then we've heard stories about people like Dan Kay, my franchisor. He built it up into a massive business with 4 or 5 trailers or something like that, and earning like mega bucks. And and that was the thing that drew it to me. In the advertising there was no push from head office to make you go out there 7 days a week and do it. If you were someone that was happy to buy a franchise and just work your 3 or 4 hours a day, 3 or 4 days a week, and that's what where you wanted your business to be at, that was a big thing. I myself, I don't mind working 5 or 6 days, but to have that option where I can have a day off during the week, if I've got something else on, or so I could organise myself with my customers to work around things like that. It's just not all about the money; it's about the lifestyle. But I can just see the potential for earning a really, really good amount of money to earn with a few employees. Sort of anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a week, is achievable with the system.
Now the question we always get from people online who are a bit, let's say they might be independent or someone who doesn't believe it, they'll go, "Oh, what are the expenses? Jim takes 30%, or you've got fuel, you've got GST, you make nothing after that." So what are maybe just to give a bit of an overview of roughly what the expenses or what you sort of take home out of the 4 or 5 grand?
Oh well, the expenses aren't that great. I spent a tank of juice in my Land Cruiser's $150. That's probably once a week. Your fuel for your mowers and your power equipment's probably maybe $100 a week. Once you get set up with your proper tools, there's not a real lot of expenses, and then depends if you employ someone. So you got to take a wage into account, and that I haven't got to the stage where I'm employing anybody full time. I've got a guy that comes in and helps me, and then big jobs we've worked around his other work and done them on weekends and public holidays and all that sort of stuff. and that to get me going. But yeah, there's not a real lot of expenses. When I first started looking into it, the job I was doing, I was driving out to the tip actually, and picking scrap metal up, and the green waste was just where they dumped the green waste was just adjacent to it, and I'd go over there. And every independent operator, I'd say, the thing about buying a Jim's restaurant, don't do it. They rip you off with the fees. It's, Jim's the only one making money out of it. This is that, and they just chuck out, And then I go over to the Jim's guys that were dumping off there, mate. Just go back to work, hand them keys in your boss, and go and do training and get into it. It's the best thing I've ever done. Every one of them said it without a hesitation or pushing or anything. Just, mate, don't think about it, do it. And that was sort of a lot of my research was with that. I went out with one franchisee, Raymond, and went and done a couple of days with him, and it was work I liked, but the fees are fixed every month, so we know what we're going to pay. Apart from your leads, it depends about how many leads. But to me, one of the independents said, "Oh, you got to pay for the leads," and I said, "Well, yeah, but I've got someone sitting there answering the phone when customers ring up, and how much would that cost me if I employed someone to do that myself? Or if I tried to do it myself, how much would that cut into my day to do it?" I think the leads are cheap.
They are cheap. When you work out the actual cost of generating an online lead that converts. We had a guy from America come and actually do a calculation, and he couldn't believe how cheap our leads were. So it sort of put a bit of perspective for sometimes people can whinge about the lead cost. Well, to generate a lead online via Google, you got to have a website first of all, which actually is good. That gets ranking. That you have paydays that go to it. Plus, you've got to deal with the convert. So. I'm glad you see that, Garry, because it is a good deal.
I just think to generate. If I'd have started off as an independent to generate, I couldn't have generated. I don't think I would have generated 10% of the leads that I've been able to get through gyms. It's very hard. I was talking to. I've been lucky. I've got a good found a good mail shop just up the road from me. Young fella's there, and he's really good steering you into the right products to buy and advice and everything like that. And he said, look at the counter here. We've got 10 guys here that have got mowing businesses with cards and everything. He said at least 9 of them won't be here in 6 months' time, because they just can't get going. Like if you think of I need my yard cleaned up or my lawn done, the first thing that pops into your mind is Jim's Mowing. That's what the brand recognition is, and they ring us up, and then we get the leads, and I think the leads are very fairly dispersed amongst all the people in the area that are wanting work, and I think it's a really, really good system that they've developed.
Yeah, it's been done over 35 plus years. Jim started doing it with he had ice cream containers back in the day when he had 50 or 20 franchisees, and he'd do it manually and stuff. Now that sort of system called the blackboard's now gone to gyms online. And as you said, it's all systemized. So territory holder, who's down for work that day, who's closest, all that sort of stuff. And it is fairly done. But what you said, I love that comment before, what you said about the fees. And, when people investigate the franchise, unfortunately, they might listen to someone who says, "Oh, don't do it. Jim takes all the money and rips you off." And it's just like, well, how would you know? We say the same thing. 131546. Talk to the actual franchisees and talk to them yourselves, and not the actual just some random bloke or person or mate who's got no idea. Because I hear it all the time. I have some guys might comment and say, "I have 3 mates who've done a Jim's Mowing and went bust," and it's like, no, you don't. No, you didn't. No, you don't. And if they went bust, they were probably really, really, really poor operators, and they would not succeed with whatever help they got.
Exactly. And that's the other point with the help, Joel, is the other franchisees, like in the first week, I rang Raymond up, who I've become friendly with, and just to say, I'm up and going, and if you've got any work. And he says, as a matter of fact, he said, I've got 2 regular mows here that I can't do them this week and next week, and he said you can have them, so he gave me a start off there with a couple of regular mows, which is the basis of your business, and I sort of deal with Pat Haggerty in Brisbane. He's Dan's right hand man. He's more or less my franchisor, as long with Dan, and Pat's been just fantastic. You ring up and you want a bit of advice, or quoting, or what to do with a particular customer or anything else, and they just help you out so much. It's not funny. It's rather unbelievable, really, that someone, like another franchisee is. A lot of people that say they're your opposition, but they're not. They're your friends in this organisation. They help you, and like that's a huge thing about the businesses, to get that support, that you're not out there on your own, and trying to battle some problem with it, and you can ring up and find a guy that's actually had that problem before and work a simple way out to fix it.
Yeah, I think the key as well, Garry, is there's so much work available, is that there's no need to compete, because everyone just wants to do the jobs and make sure they can do as many as possible. So there's no real shortage of work, is there?
No. And I've had a bit of a quiet week this week. A couple of the big jobs done, and I've got a couple of big quotes in that I'm waiting on still. But I've still had more than enough work with the leads coming through this week to build it. And I've actually got, I think I've got a bit. I'll have to count them up. There's 4 or 5 people that are coming on as a regular mow in the next 2 or 3 weeks this week, and that's the thing. You can sell. I know Des doesn't like you saying it, but we upsell their services. I've got about 3 or 4 regular mows now that we're just once-off mows, want to come in, tidy it up, get it ready for them, and then they come in and say, "Oh, it's a lot easier than me doing it," and I'll pay you to do the job, and it's just your attitude to the customer, and you do the little things right, like you do the edges properly, you blow the paths after the game, you have it nice and tidy, cleaned up when you finish, and that's where you can achieve with it is that you can sow the seed in their mind, and then they see you do a good job, and you're easy to get along with, so you get a permanent job out of it.
It's great.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what equipment did you run with? What equipment do you have?
I started off with basically the bush ranger lawnmower, which is a gun lawnmower. Then steered me into it. I just got the basic 3 implements: the brush cutter, the hedger, and the blower for a start off in my first week. I've since got unfortunately, I had some power tools stolen off my back of my ute one night. This was a little bit stupid on myself, but couple of things happened, and I didn't take them off. So I ended up getting a Husqvarna multi-tool. Now I've got the extension hedger, the extension chainsaw. We've got all the. I've nearly got the full array after the first month of everything that I'll probably possibly need. I've just been. Oh yeah, we need this for this job, so we go and buy that. But for the next job, so I can just go in and go bang straight away. It's there, and that's what, because it's so much work and everything, you can make the money to afford to buy the bits and pieces. And I think there was Mo gave us a presentation when we were down at the training, and he started off with nothing and got a big job. And I said to him, how many tools you got now, Mo? And he says, heaps and heaps.
Yeah, I think it's like 7. I think it's like his first or second league was like a $7,000 or something. Yeah, and he had nothing for it, so he had to go buy the gear to do it. Yeah.
But that's achievable in gyms. That you don't know when these jobs are coming along. Like that first one I got with real estate was I'm waiting on a quote there for a huge hedging job. It's about a $4,500 job. Yes. But you keep getting them. If you're lucky enough to get in with decent real estate, then you're going to keep getting jobs thrown at you. I've got another real estate that throws me mows and cleanups and all that sort of stuff from time to time. But that's good. But you just got to develop the business as you go along.
Now how's the body holding up? Because it can be tough in the first couple of months from the people I speak with. So how's the body holding up?
The body was wrecked in the first week, but I've quickly gained fitness back. I've actually lost 8 kilos in the month, so
it's good,
which is a good thing.
It's better than any man shake or anything you can do buying the Jim's Mowing franchise. It's a benefit people if they want to lose weight. It's a good one to do.
Oh, but I feel a lot better in myself too, Joel. Breathing a lot better and everything. That's another one of the benefits of it. You improve your own own physical health. You know, that's without having to do anything. I've been keeping a track of my steps on my phone, and I'm doing most days. I'm doing like around the 20,000 steps mark at this stage. You know, which will go up as I get busier and doing more mows and all that sort of stuff. But you know, that's a good thing to get out and do that.
I think just that's being in the sun all day and having the vitamin D, and as you said, you're around the smells of the grass, and you get that mental satisfaction as well and you're interacting with multiple people every day as well. So I think it's just got a lot of good benefits to it. Yeah.
Oh, you know, and people appreciate when you're talking to them that you can steer them in the right direction about looking after their, you know, the shrubs or hedges or lawn or whatever. There's been multiple lawns that go and they're in a terrible state when I go there, and I said, listen, I'll mow it. I'll come back in next week. I'll spray all the weeds out of it, and then we'll mow it again. And after 3 mows, they're just going, oh, that's unbelievable that you know how to do all that stuff. We haven't got grass anymore. We've got a lawn. You know, that's that. But it's just knowing that you can do that. You know, and they don't think to do that. But you know, I've got all the gear. You can just go in and do it for them, and they don't have to buy sprayers and fertilizer spreaders and stuff like that to do all that. You know, they know they can just ring me up and say, can you come and do it?
Yeah, I think people don't realize, like I see a lot of time when I drive around my area, a lot of people have like still the really crappy battery mowers with the cord coming out, and you see them with the same patch of thing just pushing, and you think, gee, we just get a Jim's Mowing franchise there long and be done in 10 minutes, and it'll actually look good.
It annoys me now the grass growing over the gutters.
Yeah.
People think they mowed the lawn and they've got grass hanging over the gutters. You know? I thought you could improve the look of your place 1,000-fold by just getting someone to cut that back for you, you know, and do it properly.
Now, what do you do in your free time, Garry? What do you personally get up to in your free time? You said you're an NRL fan, so what else do you like to get up to?
Yeah, I just like footy. I was president of one of the football clubs up here last year, taking on gyms. I've stepped back from that this year because I didn't want to overextend myself there.
Yeah.
Through birth, I'm involved in the racehorsing industry, and I bred a few horses, and you know, that's just sort of a little passion of mine. I may train a couple at some stage, but that's where the Jim's Mowing franchise comes in, because you've got to pay for them, so you've got to make money to do that. Just sort of pretty basic thing, you know, going and just sort of seeing friends and all that sort of stuff. Nothing too exciting when you go past 40. It sort of slows down, and then you go past 50 and it slows down a little even more. But you know, but I'm not ready for the retirement paddock for quite a while yet, Charles.
Fantastic. But down here we've actually got a franchisor. They have the Jim's Mowing handicap. So there's a few horse racing fans down here, and Ben Ward's the franchisor. And they do have a Jim's Mowing handicap. So maybe we might see a Jim's Mowing handicap or something up in the Queensland way.
Exactly. Yeah.
What I'll do, Garry, is well, thank you for your time today. I know you probably got a busy day, and thank you for telling everything about Jim's Mowing. And we're really glad to hear you doing really well after the first month. And I'm really happy that Jim gave me your email to sort of contact you, because it's really encouraging for us. So someone to have a really good start in their first month of Jim's is not uncommon, but it's just great that you reached out and decided to jump on and share your story.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I don't think I'm the only one. The couple of the younger guys that I went to the mowing with, we keep in touch, and they're all really, really over the moon about it. They probably just didn't put it down in writing to let Jim know that how well they're going. But I know that 3 or 4 of them are going really well. So
well, we'd love to talk to them. So hopefully they can see this and they can come on as well. But thank you very much, Garry, for your time. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks.
Ta.